Let's go, boss.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Town of Londonderry Zoning Board of Adjustment for August 18th, 2021. Before we start this evening, I'd like to go over the procedures for this meeting. It will start, the clerk will read the case into the record. The applicant will make their presentation. The board addresses the applicant with any questions or comments. Those in favor of the request are given the opportunity to address the board. Those opposed or having questions regarding the request are given the opportunity to address the board. The applicant is given the opportunity to rebut any opposition. The opposition is given the opportunity for rebuttal. The board addresses the applicant with any additional comments or questions. The public hearing portion regarding the case is closed, at which time the board enters into deliberation and votes on the request or continues the case for a future date. Those who wish to speak tonight must approach the board and use one of the microphones provided on the side. Please state your name and address for the record. All conversations will be directed through the board to ensure a single line of communication. We ask that you turn off your cell phones or put them to vibrate during this meeting. So for the first, for this evening, we have to approve the draft minutes from June 16th and July 21st.
I wasn't here the 16th of
Right.
June, I was here July 21st.
All right.
I wasn't in the 21st.
Okay, so we still don't have enough to approve. Yep, the 16th. We have enough for July 21st, though.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from July 21st.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Second order tonight, is there any report by the town council?
Nothing to report,
Thank you.
except the senior barbecue went off swimmingly this evening.
Great.
Nice to have some good news.
Yeah, the rain held off, that was good.
And Laura, tonight, the regional impact determinations?
We have three cases for your consideration. The first is case number 818, 2021-1, request for a variance from LGO 4.2.1.3.C.1 to encroach 24 feet into the 40-foot front setback for the construction of a shed, 6 Foxglove Street, map 15, lot 200, zoned AR1. Earl and Patrice Connolly, owners and applicants. Case number 818, 2021-2. Request for a special exception pursuant to LZO 5.12 for a home occupation for music lessons, 385 Mammoth Road, map 12, lot 58, zoned AR1. Thomas and Mary Thibodeau, owners and applicants. Case number 818, 2021-3. Request for a special exception pursuant to LZO 5.13 for farm retail sale of consumable non-farm products, hot dogs, and to extend the selling of ice cream to the end of October. 230 Mammoth Road, map 6, lot 21, zoned AR1, Max Apples Moose Hill Orchards, owner, and Kyle Christensen, applicant. And staff recommends that the board find that these projects are not developments of regional impact as they do not meet any of the criteria set forth by the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And no regional impact
We have to
is
vote.
approved. Don't we make a motion for that?
It was made and seconded, you just have to vote on it now.
Okay.
All those in-
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay. Are we ready for the first case? We good?
Sure.
Okay.
And Jackie, were they appointed as full
Glass.
members
Oh.
officially?
this evening, so since we don't have a full board, our alternates will be voted in this evening, so they will be voting members for this evening.
Okay, so I'll read the first two cases. Case number 07-21-2021-2, request for a variance from LZO 4.3.3.b to reduce the required 33% green landscaping area to 11% with the addition of an 8-foot by 12-foot extension to the existing patio, 103 Nashua Road, map 6, lot 35-17, zone C1, Rivard Pizza LLC owner, I'm doing my New York accent, and to Renegades Pub North applicant, continued from the July 21st, 2021 meeting. And case number 07-21-2021-3, request for a variance from LZO 4.3.3.a.1 to encroach 32.2 feet into the 60-foot setback for the addition, roll-up, down plastic barriers on an existing patio, 103 Nashua Road, map 6, lot 35-17, zone C1, Rivard Pizza LLC owner, and Renegades Pub North applicant, continued from the July 21st, 2021 meeting.
So this is a continuance. Applicant is requested to continue till September 15th. Do I have a, oh my God, tonight I'm so rusty, motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
And do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm recusing.
Okay, so Susan, it's on record that you
Your motion is to
recused
continue it to September.
September 15th.
And that you
yes.
second that motion,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Okay, so the motion is granted.
Yeah, I think this is the first one. This is not it.
Great. Well, I got it.
Or do you have them? Oh, wait, maybe there's one under here. No, that's the regional determinations. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Case number 08-18-2021-1, request for variance from LZO 4.2.1.3.c.1 to encroach 24 feet into the 40-foot front setback for the construction of a shed, 6 Foxglove Street, map 15, lot 200, zoned AR1, Earl and Patrice Connolly, did you say, owners and applicants?
So you can come up here. You can come up right here.
Is this
Good
just-
evening.
is this
Good
just
evening.
simple alignment?
Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Earl Connolly.
And I'm Patrice Conley. Thank you. So what you, do you have your application with you? So you can either give us a brief synopsis of what it is you'd like to do, but you must cover those 5 points of laws, those 5 questions that are on that application. You must give us that feedback.
Okay. Just go ahead and start.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In summary, we're looking to put a shed or a small building in our backyard, and we're planning on using this as a hobby shop. It's not intended to be a garage, and it's not being built and set up to be a garage. I guess I'll just start with the variance. Not to be contrary to public interest, the building is set back inside of our yard by 10 feet, and we have a fence around our yard. It's 36 feet off of the road, and the building won't encroach on the line of sight from either Lone Street or Foxglove Street. Spirit of the ordinance, placement of the building inside the existing fence line at 36 feet from the edge of Lone Street ensures that it will not become an eyesore or a blockage of views. not really sure if I answered these questions correctly. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If we have any questions as you go along, we'll ask you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Substantial justice. Allowing a variance will allow the use of the yard as well as use of the building. Placing the building 36 feet from the road is very close to the intent of the ordinance to ensure that the crowding is not an issue. And the architectural design of the building is intended to closely resemble the existing house and blend into the existing aesthetic nature of our neighborhood. So, let's see, number 5. Due to the limited amount of traffic on Lone Street and the actual distance from the road, placing the building 40 feet from the property line puts the building in approximately the center of the yard, and it would deprive us the use of our yard. The new building replaces a small older shed that was located at the fence line. I had a picture of it up there just a second ago. Moving the building inside the fence line 10 feet will allow for better usage of the yard and for the area surrounding. The lot is relatively small and located at the intersection of 2 streets. The building is intended to be used as a hobby shop and storage and would best suit the property in its proposed location.
Okay, so. Okay, and does the board have any questions for the applicant?
I've got a few.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hi.
The existing shed is how big?
The existing shed was 8 foot by 10 foot.
And it's going to be, how far in is the fence from your lot line?
From the lot line,
Yeah.
I believe that the fence from the lot line is in about 6 to 10 feet.
Okay. And then you're proposing to put the new shed how much further from the fence into the yard?
10 feet into the yard.
I don't know if that matches up with what we've got here, but I will take you at your word. Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions that the board has?
I did want to state, and I guess I can read it now, there was a previous zoning that I didn't read into the record. So,
Okay. Could you please read that into the
Sure.
record?
So it's a little old. July 19, 1965.
Good year.
Harold V. Lloyd, variance to build a 9-by-9 addition to existing office was granted. Sorry about that.
I have a question. So it's 16 feet off the line instead of the 40, correct?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, the shed's 16 feet off the property line instead of 40, is that correct?
That's what we're proposing, yes.
All right, and what would stop you from putting the shed on the other side of the property?
The other side of the property,
The lot's not that big.
yeah,
It would put it in the middle of our yard.
Okay. And the back of the property?
the back of our property is, it's quite a few trees and whatnot, and just basically, I don't know, swinging it around in the property. We've kind of beat this up between ourselves several times, and it just, for us, it makes sense to place it right there at that particular location.
Okay.
And there was a shed already there that we've had removed, and this is further in than where that shed was before. So it's similar in location, it's further into the yard. It doesn't impede any line of sight, it doesn't block anything. Lone Street's not a very actively used road. just because of the nature of the neighborhood there. And the house doesn't even sit that far off the road, as you can see in that picture. It's,
Right.
the house was built in 1890 something, so it's on the edges of the road on both corners, the way the house is aligned.
Okay.
Definitely pre-zoning.
Yeah, that shed is, yeah.
So it, as you can tell in the pictures, it sits literally on the street, on the house itself does,
Yes.
and it occupies the full front of the land.
It looks like there's vegetation behind that shed right now.
It's actually a bunch of, we actually had most of that cleared out with we had an excavator come in. It's that Japanese knotweed.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we had it cleaned up and found a drainage area back there, and there was quite a bit of old construction debris from previous owners and so forth that we've had removed just to clear all that space.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly.
Hey, Laura, can you do like a top-down view?
Let's see.
I know we're short-staffed tonight.
Yep, here we go.
Yeah.
What about a, yeah,
there we go.
satellite?
Oh, I can see a little better.
Yep.
So to go 40 feet in from the side, it puts anything in the middle of the yard.
Yeah, does it have to be 45
The
feet
fence
from the
sits
right?
within, inside the property line that's there already, that's,
Now, did you say the backyard is treed?
yeah,
There's trees all along the back of the yard.
probably,
Right side have to be 40 feet?
There's pretty good sized trees back there.
the fence doesn't even go directly across the property line because the size of the trees, it kind of zigzags across the back.
Correct.
So if you put it on the other side, you don't have to be 50.
Now, why wouldn't you put it, I mean, it does look like there's a lot of cleared backyard. Is there a reason you wouldn't put it in a cleared area?
Well, like I said earlier, the positioning of the proposed positioning of the shed is
Did you look for the
conducive for us to use the yard. If, by putting a shed that size, say, at the back of the yard, considering the way that the landscaping is done, it would literally put it into the middle of the yard.
So if it
In order
wasn't,
to hold it to 15 feet off of the property line on the opposite side, would still do basically the same thing.
So Laura, since it's a corner lot,
It is a corner lot,
So
yes.
you have a 40-foot setback here, then along this property line, you have 15, and this property
15.
line, you have
15, right?
15.
Yeah.
So 15 here and 15 here. And then 40 here and 40 here.
so, so this house, as you've already stated, dates to 1890 vintage. How large is your lot? Do you know,
I have it right here.
roughly?
Yeah, 0.45 acres, I think.
0.48.
Okay,
less than a half.
okay. And the previous shed was actually built into the old fencing. So now that old fencing, you're gonna have, where you took the shed out, you're gonna have new fencing that
We had the hole closed off in the fence.
closed off,
Yes.
so now that's, okay.
Yes.
And on
Actually,
your-
we replaced all the fencing.
And you did, okay. And on the drawing, can you clarify how big the new proposed shed would be? Because I'm having a hard time reading it.
16 feet wide by 24 feet deep.
Okay. Okay. Does the board have any other questions of the applicant? No? I'd like to bring it out to the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that is in favor of? Please come to the mic and you'll need to state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Ron Francis. I'm at, across the street on 7 Foxglove Street. And just for the record, they've done nothing but make the property more valuable, and thus making my house more valuable. So I'm all for it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to state anything in favor? Is there anyone in the audience that is opposed that would like to express their opposition? Okay, let the record stand, there's no one opposing. I'll bring it back to the board. Do you have any further questions from our applicant? Okay. All right, we have no further questions, so we're going to close for deliberations, and you can remain right there if you'd like to see what the outcome is.
Thank you.
All right, do we need any deliberation? Do you need to discuss anything? Do we have any concerns that we need to hash out now, or can we just go right into the 5 points? We good?
I think we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Okay, granting the variance would or would not be contrary to the public interest because. I would say would not.
Yeah, I would say would not.
I agree.
I agree.
Would not. Okay, we all agree.
I don't believe it's gonna alter the character of the neighborhood.
I agree. There's no safety concerns. We all agree.
Yep.
The spirit of the ordinance would or would not be observed because.
Spirit of the ordinance, I would say would be observed.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Same as number one, does not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. There's no threat to public safety or health concerns.
Granting the variance would or would not do substantial justice because.
Would
Agree.
Agree.
the applicant's loss would be greater than the good to the public.
I agree.
I agree.
For the following reasons, the value of the surrounding properties would or would not be diminished.
Not.
Would not.
The old shed. So you're replacing the whole fence?
They already did. Yep.
Other-
Yep.
I don't know if they fix the hole or replace the fence.
Yep.
Fix the hole. Fix the hole.
Owing to the special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because, one, there is or is not a fair and substantial relationship between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property because. I would say is not.
Then I would say it's not.
Is not.
It's a small
agree.
property, there's pretty limited
It's pre-zoning, it's
limited space.
to the
in place.
ward, to the street already. It has so many unique restrictions already on it.
And then, as the proposed use is or is not a reasonable one because.
Is reasonable.
Is, yeah, sheds are reasonable.
Yep, I agree.
Do you have any restrictions or anything?
So in the request for the variance, there's no specific size to the shed, so I'd like to make a comment that we state that the shed shall be no larger than 16 feet by 24 feet.
And do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion on case number 818, 2021-1, which was a request for a variance from Londonderry zoning ordinance 4213C1 to encroach 24 feet into the 40-foot front setback for the construction of a shed at 6 Foxglove Road, map 15, lot 200, zoned AR1. Earl and Patrice are the owners and the applicants. That the same be allowed, having met the 5 criteria, and with the special restriction that the shed shall not be larger than 16 feet by 24 feet.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
You've been granted. Have a good
So,
evening.
May I ask, can I go by the building department and pick up my permit tomorrow?
Yes, you can. Now,
The
there is a
woman says
30
yes.
There is a 30-day appeal period, so if somebody wanted to come in and appeal and you already built it, you put yourself at somewhat of a
There is
risk.
a risk.
Right, so there is a risk of getting the building permit right away. Most people like to wait for the 30-day appeal period just in case. But, yeah,
Well,
feel
thank
free
you
to
very
come
much.
to the building department tomorrow.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, board.
Have a good night.
You know, the next one.
Do you need this back? Okay, thank you.
I've got his ordinance.
This one's got a lot of things on it. Is this the right, this is not, this is Renegade.
Is Renegade back up here?
I don't know.
Get it out of here. This must be 2. What number are we on, 4?
We're on, well, it's actually 2. It's
We have to
818.
read that what the outcome was, correct?
You can.
Yeah. So for case number 818, 2021, it passed 5 in favor, 0 against. We're having to do double duty tonight.
You're doing a job. Better than me.
Phew.
It's 818,
Well, you can look too.
yeah, well, I don't have much to look at here.
818-2,
Yeah,
home occupation.
all right, that's it.
Beautiful.
Here's this one, and these we don't need. This
Yeah,
is-
throw this,
Well,
I'll
no,
put them
we've
aside.
got one coming up. Rehearing.
These ones have some old. This as well. Okay, I'll call the next case. Case number 818, 2021-2, a request for a special exception pursuant to LZO 5.12 for a home occupation for music lessons, 385 Mammoth Road, map 12, lot 58, zoned AR1, Thomas and Mary Thibodeau, owners and applicants. We do have 2 previous zonings on this property. The first, May 17th, 1977, Harvey C. and Teresa K. Simmons, a variance to conduct antique and craft shop from their property adjoining building, granted. And June 20th, 2000, again, well, this is Thomas and Mary Thibodeau, special exception to operate a landscape maintenance and house cleaning business as a home occupation, which was granted with exceptions, with restrictions, rather. Sorry.
Who will be presenting? Good evening.
Hi.
Please
Tom.
state your name for the record.
Tom Thibodeau, 385 Mammoth Road.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for hearing me tonight. I want to have a guitar teaching and bass and guitar teaching business. It's going to be, I plan on having a maximum of 12 students per week, so it's on a small scale. I will be open for business Monday to Saturdays, 6 days from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. I am requesting a 3 square foot sign, but it's going to be a wooden hand-painted sign, and I want it to have more of a country look, not a commercial look on the sign. And the sign is the only way that the property is being altered for the business. Obviously, I'm just having students come in the property. The The amount of the living space used is less than 25%. It's actually only 8.5%. I have a very large driveway with a turnaround, and I'm going to allow 15 minutes in between students coming and going so that they're not arriving and leaving at the same time.
So it's one student per lesson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Does the board have any questions of the applicant?
I did, so there was a previous zoning to allow home landscaping business. Is that
Yes.
no longer
Yes.
occurring?
Yes. I retired 2 years ago from that. I don't do any landscaping anymore.
You said there was restrictions on that?
The housekeeping part, I thought, right?
The restrictions on the I think the
Landscaping.
landscaping, it didn't state what they were in the little
Okay.
piece
I'm
of
just curious.
How
Yeah.
about the housekeeping?
No,
No.
that's done. Yeah.
That's done, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any other questions of the applicant?
Yes,
I don't.
it says here Monday through Saturday, not past 6, 10 hours a week. That's 10 hours total a week?
I don't know how many students I'm going to get. How many students? Oh, as far as open for business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your question? I thought it was,
Says,
it 10 hours a day for 60?
well, it says right here 10 hours per week.
Oh.
Approximately 10 hours per week, it says.
Where does it say that?
There's special exception.
Well, it depends on how many students he has, so.
Correct.
if He's ballpark in 12.
Oh, okay,
10
so
up
even
to
though it's
Page.
open up to 6 PM, it's only good space, 10 hours a week. Okay.
How long is
I don't know who I
the?
wrote that.
That's why
How-
it just sounded kind of weird,
It's number
Monday through
13
Saturday, then
on
only
your
10
special
hours. It's
exception
like
sheet. It's the very last.
Thank you.
hours a day or
Thank you.
something.
So how long are the lessons per,
Oh, I know why.
student.
Yeah, because I was basing it on 12 students at 45-minute lessons.
oh, okay,
Oh, they're far,
Okay.
they're quick
Yeah.
lessons.
all right,
Makes more sense then.
okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
But what would be the earliest lesson? If you put the latest, it says 6, Monday through Thursday, not past 6 PM. When would be the earliest you would start?
10 a.m.,
I think you said that, okay.
yeah.
And we don't have any idea on the sign, like as far as, what it- you had described it, but there's nothing here that shows it, right? Like what it
Do you have a size for the sign that you're thinking?
Yes. I measured it and did the math, and it's right at 3 square feet.
Okay,
It's actually going to be mounted on a tree 27 feet from the road.
back from the road on the property.
So it's not going to be out there, it's not going to be like
Like a street sign hanging on
out by the street.
road.
It's going to be more discreet. So,
So is it 3 by 3, is that what you're saying?
no, it's 3 square feet,
Just 3 square feet?
yes.
Okay.
any other questions? Like to take it out to the audience, is there anyone that would like to approach in favor of the applicant? Let the record show that there is no one. Is there anyone in opposition? And let the record state that there is no one in opposition. Bring it back to the board one more time for the applicant for questions. Okay, we're good to go. So
Thank you
let
very
us.
much.
No, we're gonna go into deliberations, so let's just make sure that you're all set first. We don't know yet.
All right. The activities associated with the home occupation shall not detract from the rural character of the residential neighborhood, nor shall they create traffic, environmental, or aesthetic impacts substantially different than the impacts created by other permitted uses in the neighborhood. Put a check mark where the applicant has satisfied that criteria, or an X when they have not.
So he has satisfied it.
I agree.
It's a busy road, but it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like he's gonna have a lot of traffic, so I agree.
No, I agree.
Are you okay down there?
Yep, they all agree.
The home occupation shall be incidental and secondary to the use of the property as a residential dwelling. Agree, he's met that.
We all agree with that, yep.
Yes. Home occupation shall be permitted only in single-family or two-family dwelling units and are not permitted in multifamily dwelling units. Single-family.
That's a single family, yep.
A home occupation shall occupy no more than 25% of the existing normal living area of the primary residence, or if the home occupation is conducted in an accessory building, which it is not. Let me go there. Yes?
He meets the criteria, yep,
That was a very small number.
yep. 8.5% is being used.
Only members of the occupant's immediate family residing on the property may be employed, or upon request, the Board of Adjustment may grant employment of one additional employee on the site. Please indicate if permission was granted.
So I have to open that back up. I need to open up to deliberations for a minute. Sir, are you gonna have any employees?
No,
It will only be you?
yes, it will.
Okay. Thank you. That has been satisfied.
No exterior renovations or construction shall be permitted as part of a home occupation.
There is none.
There's none.
Exterior storage of any product, equipment, machinery, or materials associated with the home occupation is prohibited.
There is none.
Traffic generated by the home occupation shall not create safety hazards or be substantially greater in volume than would normally be expected in the neighborhood.
There is none, yep.
The off-street parking shall be adequate for anticipated customers, although no parking area in excess of those necessary for normal residential purposes will be allowed.
He has satisfied that.
I agree.
All home occupations shall be conducted in accordance with all town regulations, state laws, and licensing requirements, which he checked. The sign, please indicate whether a sign was requested and permitted, if there is a freestanding or wall sign. Sign is not illuminated, and the sign does not exceed 3 square feet per side, Okay. It is,
I don't know if a tree, I didn't see anything that said, that it had to be freestanding or affixed to a building.
permitted if it is a freestanding or wall sign.
Is a tree constitute?
It's something affixed.
I guess it's
it would.
kind of, well, it is affixed, it's
Freestanding
not
or
affixed
wall
to the
sign.
house, though.
Well, it's not freestanding, so.
No, so it's affixed. It just happens to be affixed to a tree
It's not-
rather than a wall.
it's
And I
not
did
a-
ask Nick about that. because
Yeah.
It was attached to the tree, so he's aware
Okay,
of it, and he said that that was not an issue.
okay.
Good.
I'm just gonna note that, so
Sure.
20 years from now.
Is,
Okay.
Now, the hours of operation, the applicant stated that he's gonna start at 10 a.m. Can we make note of that on this? So, 10 a.m., not past 6 p.m.
Monday through Saturday, correct?
Yes.
Monday through Saturday. And do we want to make, two other thoughts I had. One, do we want to make note that there's no, and I don't know that we can do this, that there's no longer a landscaping business there, or once it's been approved, there's always could be?
It's approved according to the specifics that were given at the time for a home occupation, so if he's no longer doing it, it now goes away. So
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't run with the property like a variance does,
Got
it's
it.
different.
Got it. And then do we want to say one student at a time? I mean, if they're twins,
I don't think that's
I
necessary.
drove by it, it looked like it could probably accommodate a second car. I don't know if it's necessary either. I
Yeah,
was just trying
no,
to figure out, because it's on Mammoth Road, which can get busy.
pretty busy road.
true, but it's only 45-minute sessions. And it's guitar lesson.
The only thing we didn't discuss, and since I have a husband who plays a lot of guitars, is any sound. But I assume that it will be okay.
The other thing, I don't see this,
Is your husband
A lot
loud?
of sound comes out of my house.
Oh, my gosh, okay. So he's loud.
It can be. You plug in.
I don't see the size of the sign on here.
He stated it on his application.
Oh, it
3
does
square
say the
feet,
sign?
yeah, it did, the last.
I must have missed it, yeah.
Yeah, it's on number 12.
I don't-
Because he checked off the sign does not exceed 3 square feet per side.
Oh, okay, all right, you checked it off.
Yeah, he
I'm
checked
okay
it
with
off.
that, limiting the student
Right.
number.
Yeah, I don't,
The last note is the zoning board of adjustment may impose such conditions and restrictions it deems desirable and necessary to protect the residential character of the neighborhood.
And even between 10 and 6, it's hard to think that there's going to be a noise problem.
Agreed.
So are we okay with no imposing of how many students? I mean,
You want to, well, say 2 and therefore give them some space, or are we okay with just not?
I,
You know, it's just, the only concern I had was when I drove by and I saw the driveway was big enough to accommodate cars and turning around. I said, ooh, Mammoth Road, just can't get a lot of traffic.
true, but if he doesn't know how many students he's gonna have, and even at 45-minute intervals, it's a 45-minute lesson, so he said he had 15-minute to have somebody in and out, so every hour, if he was very successful,
Yeah. We haven't
10,
made that a condition either,
11,
right?
12,
We didn't make that a condition, or the 12-student max, we haven't.
yeah, that'd be 8 students a day, so he couldn't technically even do 12 students a day.
That's not a condition, we haven't made that a condition.
No.
So he could have 20 students a day if we approve this without making it a condition.
Well, if he did lessons for 20 minutes, maybe.
No, he's saying more than one person at
Oh,
a
more than
time. So
one
if you put a
person at a
band
time.
together and you had 4 people in there playing at the same
Right.
time.
I'm just saying, we could limit it to 12 or 15 total students.
Oh, I wouldn't limit how
It
many
wouldn't-
students.
No, I wouldn't.
I'm just trying, again, my only concern
he's
was too
very
much
successful.
traffic. I hope it does so too.
So let me just look at his
Doesn't look like it's gonna
application
be a
here.
lot there, but- Does he?
I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be a problem, I just, you know,
Since, be a partial
put it out there.
basis.
I think if it was on a
So-
side street, I'd be less
Says-
concerned.
So the applicant does give us an additional document in his own handwriting that says, Tom Bilodeau, I am asking for permission to give guitar lessons in my home at 385 Mammoth Road. It will be on a part-time basis, approximately 10 to 12 students per week. I would like a place to place a 3-square-foot sign 27 feet from the road attached to a tree. As you can see, this business will not detract from the rural character of the neighborhood. The traffic will be managed well, having a large driveway and also allowing 15-minute intervals between the students. I'm using less than 25% of the living space for the business. The business is a secondary use of the property as a residential dwelling. So he states that this is just on a part-time basis
Right, no,
as well.
I agree, I mean, but, you know, my only point was that if we don't put it in as a, you know, then it's that way. And-
Well,
It says 10 to 12 students, though.
but, so, the special exception, if there's any excessive noise or complaints, that's
Okay,
handled
that's fair.
you know, so that's why I think
Okay,
it's,
that's fair.
yeah, going beyond what the zoning board should even impose,
Okay, that's fair enough.
making sure we don't overstep our preview.
Okay.
All right, so that form just
That's the
gets,
end.
that's the end.
Well, I assume we have to make a motion.
Okay. Do we have a motion to?
Do we need to motion this?
Do we need to motion? Oh, yeah. Do I have a motion for this case?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion on case number 818-2021-2, a request for a special exception pursuant to Londonderry zoning ordinance 5.12 for a home occupation for music lessons at 385 Mammoth Road, map 12, lot 58, zoned AR1, Thomas and Mary Thibodeau, owners and applicants, that the request for the special exception for home occupation be approved, having met all of the criteria with no noted restrictions.
But
Do I have a second?
Didn't we say the time is a noted restriction, or we're not doing that? I think?
Was a
That's part of-
comment
That's
on,
part of the.
Okay,
that was part of it.
okay.
Do I-
I'll second it.
You have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Now you go.
Now
Thank you
you
all
can
very
go.
much. You guys are great.
Have a good evening.
That looks like it, I think. Yeah, me neither. I thought they'd be reading for an hour. Okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to call case number 08-18-2021-3, a request for a special exception pursuant to LZO 5.13 for farm retail sale of consumable non-farm products, hot dogs, and to extend the selling of ice cream to the end of October. 230 Mammoth Road, map 6, lot 21, zoned AR1, Max Apples, Moose Hill Orchards owner, and Kyle Christensen applicant. There is previous zoning, so I'll run through those. Some of these are kind of old too. So 11/20/1973, Moose Hill Orchards, Inc. A variance for a non-accessory sign was granted pending a town meeting. October 18th, 1977, Moose Hill Orchards, Inc. Variance to erect 72 square foot sign 72 square feet on existing wall of retail market was denied. August 15th, 1989, Moose Hill Orchards, Inc. A variance to operate retail ice cream stand to sell ice cream-related products and steamed hot dogs, which is a commercial use in AR1 zone, was denied. And April 16th, 1991, Moose Hill Orchards, Inc. Special exception to permit retail sale of non-farm grow products as presented, granted with restrictions, sale of ice cream only. That's last.
Thank you. Who will be presenting? Welcome.
Hello. I'm Joe Green, 46 Seasons Lane, Londonderry. So basically what the farm is asking is to extend the hours from September 15th to October 31st for ice cream and additionally add hot dogs for sale. This is like the middle of their harvest season, and they close the ice cream shop right dead in the middle of when they're selling most of their product. So they're trying to make the most of the experience with people coming up into the orchards. The kids are hungry. I can tell you firsthand experience, I've worked at the store. They're asking, why is this ice cream place closed? So they're not asking for a big deal, they're just trying to extend it to October 31st. And the hot dogs are basically a little steam machine. People have been asking for them.
Joe, in what capacity are you here as? Normally we have.
I'm just representing Moose Hill Orchards, and Cal couldn't make it.
He was supposed to give you a letter.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
sorry.
Yep. You might like it. You might see more of me. Make that exhibit A.
Yep. So, Mr. Green, do you work for MAC?
I do, part-time,
Okay, so you're familiar with the business?
very,
Okay, how long have you been working there?
just about a year.
Okay. Do you have any other questions of the applicant? Raise that to the board.
I guess I do. So I know that when you start getting deeply into the season, and by the way, I'm one of those people who years ago must have asked the question about why it closes in September, but do you, it seems that the place is packed. Like, there are times where I have to wait to find parking, and I worry that having that as where people are just coming for ice cream might completely overwhelm the parking
Well-
available, in addition to the people from out of state and out of town who are coming to
Well,
pick.
during harvest season, I'm not sure people are coming for ice cream. They're coming for apple picking. And there's additional parking in back of the market. They open up a field. So people do choose to park on the street. I'm not sure why. The farm is willing to do anything to accommodate any changes that need to be done for parking. The farm also told me that if there's any line, they're gonna put it in the arcade. It won't be in the parking lot. So they'll do whatever you require to manage the parking. But there's plenty of parking. I've seen empty spaces and people on the street. There's-
So right now, they line up in front of the stand, so what you're saying is you're gonna change that to go around into,
They do tend to line up in the parking lot. They'll probably have like a roped off area into the arcade, just to get them out of the way. Because tractors are going through there too.
yep.
So the ice cream stand will be staying where it currently is,
Yeah, it's business as usual. They just want to extend the hours.
and where are we selling hot dogs?
In the stand, it's a little hot dog machine.
In the ice cream stand?
Hey, Laura, I had a question for you, and I think I asked you this, but I didn't quite get your answer. So they've already had a special exception granted now 30 years ago.
Right.
And now they're back sort of asking to change the requirements. Is that acceptable? Like, is there any limit on that? Can you always come in and,
They did ask for the ice cream sales back in the day, and I sent those minutes because there was a discussion about the time frame
Yep.
for that and the previous special exception. But the zoning ordinance has since been amended, so
Right.
now you have a new
okay.
criteria for special exception, which you have, I think this is the first time this one has come before you.
As long as I've been here, which isn't that
Right.
long, but yeah.
And that, this is the first time that it's come before me since
Right.
I've been here. So now you have it, and I would just review it as it exists in the application that I gave you with the criteria under the new zoning.
I'm still recovering that 1991 was 30 years ago, because I remember when they didn't sell ice cream. Oh, gosh.
There's new owners now.
Well, maybe it's not it's moot here, but if they came back next month and wanted to make it November, just out of curiosity, would we?
You do, and, I mean, the criteria talks about traffic and, you know,
Okay.
those type of things, if you
But they
think.
could come back with if they didn't like it.
Right.
Okay, got it. That's what I was asking.
And Laura, you may want to look at that form for the answers 1 through 8,
Okay,
because it says you must answer yes
Should
to
be
those
no.
questions, but it should be no,
No.
yeah. So it's just a typo on our end.
We've seen this before.
Yeah, that's okay, that's all
We'll get
right,
there.
we'll get there. Is there any other questions for Mr. Green?
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand, the hot dog part of it because, even when you go to, a little craft fair, everybody likes to have a hot dog, ice cream, whatever. The only thing that's concerning is, right now, there's a pretty good line just getting ice cream out. And now you gotta get ice cream out and hot dogs out, so that's really my only concern.
And that's where they're talking about putting the line inside the arcade, out of the way. Completely out of the parking lot.
Right, 'cause
It'll be a roped off type deal. They'll put cones, no pun intended, where you need them, and they'll even put crosswalk if you need it.
And obviously, you probably, if you needed to put more people dishing it out, you probably would, because you'd have more volume, right?
Again, I'm not sure there'll be more volume. I think it's just making the most of the people that are there. And I can tell you firsthand experience that people come in the store and during harvest season, why is it closed?
Yeah.
And they're not regular customers, they're
Oh,
people
you mean
from,
extending it, yeah, I don't see a problem extending it myself, I just wondering about, like I say, like he said, sometimes there's pretty good lines there, so if it would be
Yeah.
slower with hot
There's-
dogs being sold, then maybe
there's plans to maintain that.
there's a plan for
Yep.
traffic, okay, that's all.
No, I think that's a good point. It's a safety issue, and I think that, you know, we're able to put some conditions on here, so I think that we need to be cognizant of that and make some recommendation as far as keeping the line out of the parking lot,
Yeah, I
which
think,
I'm sure they want to as well. It's
Right.
not anything anybody wants to see happen.
Yeah, it's one of the points the owner made to me. It's like they will do whatever you request for crowd control,
Because it's more about safety.
right?
I think you know, it is just the parking on Mammoth, you know, a very busy parking lot. A long line just does create some safety issues. I'm trying to think what we might want to put in there.
Well, there's enough area there that they can make parking, you know, people, rather than people parking along the streets, they have the ample room in which to say, okay, this is all parking, and really label it probably a lot better than it is labeled today.
Well, for our purposes, then parking on Mammoth Road actually is better for internally for the ice cream and the hot dogs, which is what we're reviewing here today.
Correct.
I mean, I think the key point that I'm trying to figure out, and I think David raised it as well, is does this add even more volume to a very busy, and it may not. I mean, I don't know that if I was driving by feeling like I needed just ice cream, that I'd look at that, you know, crowd and say, I think I'll go by, you know, someplace else.
So don't forget, we're asking to extend it through October. Sometimes Octobers are pretty chilly.
But that's usually, that is the busiest time, I think, from
Plus,
September.
there'll be some probably more hot dogs at that point.
They can find employees to go through the end of the October.
Yeah, the current environment,
Yeah, it's tough.
that might be tough.
Well, do we have any other questions for the applicant? We're good. I'd like to bring it out to the audience. Is there anyone here in favor that would like to speak on behalf of the applicant? Let the record oh, please come up to the mic, sir, and please state your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Don Clark. I'm a non-resident of Londonderry. I happen to live in Litchfield right now, but I'm here to represent the Methodist Church up at the corner of Pillsbury and Mammoth Road. And you've all discussed the traffic situation over there, which is probably part of the factor in making this decision. I think I'm speaking on behalf of my pastor, who indicated that our neighbor, which has no bearing on this situation at all, but our neighbor sometimes rents the hall out, and they leave quite a mess sometime in the adjacent lot that the pastor has to clean up. And I think the pastor's main concern is probably littering more than anything, aside from the traffic that you've already discussed. So I don't know where we're going to go from there, but I do want to mention that we also have to consider that the parsonage is on 8 Adams Road, and this business enterprise is kind of in the middle of where we are on Adams Road and on Mammoth Road. And I forget to say thank you, Madam, and the board for hearing me out.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor or against the applicant? Let the record show there is no one that is approaching. I'll take it back to the board before we go into deliberations. We're good?
Yes, before deliberations.
Or before deliberations, okay. We're going to close the hearing, and we'll start proceeding with the deliberation. So, on that form, we have,
So there is their questions. It does say that things can be not applicable.
all right, so we do have a,
Yep. that's what it
okay,
says.
we do have a place, okay. All right, does anybody need to hash anything out before before Suzanne starts reading?
Well, do we want to read through it and then talk about whether we want to put any?
We can do it that way, too, yep.
I prefer to have a conversation before. I mean, I guess we can have it after, because it is what it is, you know, unless we disagree. Like, there might be issues we disagree with, or answers we disagree with.
So on this new form, 1 through 8 must state no. All right, so that's the first section.
So we can tackle the 1 through 8 first if you want.
Will the use be detrimental to the health or safety of residents?
That is, I think, one issue we may, I mean, I assume they answered no.
So no.
And is that, do we want to discuss those
The use
issues?
of selling ice cream and eating hot dogs?
So they're presently selling ice cream.
Correct.
It's just the extension
Of the
of what they're already doing. So their clientele is already established. So all they're asking for is a length of time to lengthen their season
Plus also sell hot dogs.
and sell hot dogs. So,
I don't think it's gonna have a very large impact on the number of people. I think that people may stay longer because they're gonna get an
Right.
ice cream or a hot dog, but
they may actually,
I don't think we're
they're,
gonna.
I think that the clientele goes there for the apple
Experience.
orchards,
Right,
the
the
experience,
atmosphere,
and if anything, they're already there. They're just gonna have the benefit of being able to sell them a hot dog, you know, for someone who, you know, came to be with the kids and for the experience and said, you know what, I'm really hungry, I just could use a hot dog. I mean, my husband would do it. He's like,
would
oh,
probably
I'll have
do
a
it
hot dog.
myself, to be
Yeah, you'd
honest
have a
with
hot dog, so, you know, they're already there and the kids are already having ice cream,
Yeah.
so.
So as long as they control the line, I think we're
And
okay.
I do think the next few are also the same, so maybe you should read through them and then we'll.
Okay.
Okay.
Does the use cause or create a nuisance or hazard to adjacent properties? We did have some public comment on that. Will the use create undue traffic congestion or a traffic safety hazard in the vicinity of the proposed development? Will the use be incompatible with the surrounding neighborhood? Will the use be a detriment to the property values in the vicinity of the proposed development with considerations given to the location or scale of building structures, parking areas, or other access ways? Will a nuisance be created by such use by way of emission of odor, smoke, gas, dust, noise, glare, heat, vibration, or other pollutants or other unsightly outdoor storage of equipment, vehicles, or other materials? So some of these are pretty easy to answer. Will the use create a hazard to the public or adjacent properties on account of potential fire, explosion, or release of toxic materials? Will the use result in the degradation of the existing surface and groundwater quality standards that will have adverse effects on the natural function of wetlands on the site, which would result in the loss of significant habitat or flood control?
So the applicant answered no for the record, 1 through 8. Does anybody disagree with any of those responses? I do not disagree. I agree with all his responses, no.
I agree too.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah, I was struggling with this, but
Yeah.
I think I'll agree.
It's only because it's basically what's there now, pretty much.
It's already, it's a present, it's a small add-on to what he's already doing.
Right.
All right. Continuing, will adequate and appropriate facilities be provided for the intended use? Yes? You want me to read all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Will all necessary state and federal permits be obtained? Is the use specifically authorized by ordinance as a special exception use in the district within which such particular site is located?
Now, there was no line to answer that. He didn't answer
It's a
that.
question, right, there was no line. Are there appropriate provisions for access facilities adequate for the estimated traffic from the public streets and sidewalks so as to ensure the public safety and to avoid traffic congestion? Are the vehicular entrances and exits to be clearly visible from the street? Are there fully adequate parking areas and off-street truck loading spaces in conformity with this ordinance and all other pertinent ordinances for the anticipated number of occupants, employees, and patrons? Is the layout of the parking spaces, hurts my ears. Anyway, truck loading berths and interior driveway convenient and conducive to safe operations? And are there adequate provisions for the collection and disposal of stormwater runoff from the site? We didn't really discuss any of that. We need to answer yes, from 9 to 16.
And I'm gonna open this back up to the applicant. Number 11, You have not indicated any response, so could you please, for the record, respond to this question? Is the use specifically authorized by ordinance as a special exception use in the district within which such particular site is located?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so now all the questions are now answered. Does anybody disagree with any of the yeses 9 through 16? Now, remember, we do have at the end of this form where we can do our comments and restrictions and suggestions and so forth, okay? Because we can't on this form at this point, but we can once we get through it.
Yeah, I still am struggling with, all the affirmatives on parking and, traffic congestion. I mean, I think if we can address it in the restrictions, maybe we're okay. I mean, again, I don't know if this adds a tremendous amount to what's already there that period, but even if it's another 5, 10, 15 cars in a period of time, that it's already, I mean, I try not to go down that way unless I'm going to the farm during that season.
Right.
We discussing conditions.
We'll do that at the end, so does anybody disagree with 9 through 16?
I do not.
I do not. Okay.
I don't think I do either. I mean, I could get there on the, yeah,
Once we get to the comment
I
section,
might be able to get there.
and we
but-
can clean it up.
Yeah, otherwise I think this just, yeah, I think, yeah, this is already a problem. It would just be a little worse.
That's the form we have to work with, so.
All right. Couple of more questions. Is protective screening necessary? I'm gonna say no.
The applicant responded no.
Are there wetlands on the property that require input from the Conservation Commission?
I don't know
I
that.
don't believe
There's
with
water on
regard,
the property, is it?
with regard to selling ice cream and hot dogs in the stand. Or the impact it might have with a few more cars. I'm gonna say no.
Is that on your form?
Yes?
Yeah, it's the third page, 17, 18, and 19. I don't know if you got that.
Yeah, I've got 17. Oh, I just didn't,
Oh, I missed one, sorry. Is there or will there be installation of outdoor flood or spotlighting? Assume the answer is no. Did he have to answer this, or is this just our
It
question?
looks like he answered them.
yep.
on
Okay,
this
so the
document.
applicant answered no, 17, 18, and 19. So,
The answer to number 20.
Was there a 20 as well?
Are there issues relating to traffic, parking, drainage, site design that would require input from the planning board? I guess no is the answer. This is not a large.
I don't have a 20 on mine.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'll read it again.
Okay.
Are there issues relating to traffic, parking, drainage, site design that would require input from the planning board? I would say no. We're not creating anything new here.
We're not creating anything new, no.
Did we ask Nick about any of those, or?
No, we did not, but if the board has concerns, I think why you're not seeing the numbers is if the board wants to refer this to the planning board for a review on some of those issues, that's one of the things that you can do. So if you wanted to refer to the planning board for traffic or parking or site layout, where the parking spaces are going to be, you can do that.
Sort of like that.
Yeah, so, I mean, so there's the safety net, right? So if we have concerns about parking, which I think a lot of us have expressed, because, it's tight
I
anyways.
don't think expanding the
Right, I don't think,
ice cream for a couple of weeks and selling some hot dogs is going to
I don't think the park,
warrant the planning board having to, I mean, if they were going to change the traffic pattern there, I would certainly say it needs to go there. Or you had new buildings or something of that nature. I don't see it as having a huge impact.
no, I mean, I think the traffic is really the farm stand. That has nothing to do with the ice cream stand.
Okay.
My,
Yeah, you know what, I agree with that then.
my perspective was it's already really bad, and if it's a little bit more, it's,
Well, they're very successful. I mean,
it's good.
amen, right?
No, I like that. I do like
That's, I mean, that's what we want for everybody
in this town. It's that wonderful, flourishing aspect of this town.
So do we have at least 3 no's on that?
So, yeah, I'm okay. Do you want it on the record that you're not, Mitch, or are you okay?
I'm okay, especially if we get to a point where we
Okay,
add some conditions.
well, here we are.
Okay, so,
Is the board attaching any conditions? If yes, please state those conditions here.
How do we state this?
Well, I think that the easiest place to start was the line being formed at the ice cream stand, that it needs to
It's just
be
roll around.
directed in such a way that it's not in the parking lot.
Right, so there needs to be some kind of barrier or some kind of coning or something, so it doesn't go into the parking lot where people drive in.
so we could state it that the ice cream portion, or it's the ice cream stand, so clarification,
Say patrons of the ice cream stand must be,
The appropriate, I don't know, how to- appropriately written queued up to prevent overflow into the parking lot, or to maximize
okay.
safety.
all right, so adequate space to accommodate the ice cream stand patrons, basically,
And to safely accommodate.
to save, right,
So they're
so,
not,
I think we need to be more specific
Yeah.
than that, that's way too vague.
no, I also, so they're not lined up. I mean, we probably want to put the responsibility on Max to ensure that their patrons are provided appropriate space, so they're not lined into the parking lot, or they're lined up safely and
Right.
and not into the parking lot. I mean, it's an active,
Maybe they could put like, even like some posts with some rope between it or something, so they can't go
So-
onto the parking lot.
so patrons of the ice cream stand shall be segregated from the parking area. That way they're delineated away from that, if we can state it that way.
Your suggestion? I don't know.
Ice cream
I
stand.
think
Now the hot dog stand.
But the hot dogs are being sold
Yeah, no,
at the
I
ice
know.
cream stand, so,
Yeah, so I was just kidding about that.
so our hot dog and our ice cream people need to be
Away from the
not,
They need to get
hey,
along.
they need to get along, and they need to be out of the parking lot while they're standing, waiting for an ice cream and a hot dog. So if we can express that so that they clearly mark that off and get them.
So,
So I have patrons of the ice cream stand shall be segregated from the parking areas in an effort to maintain safety.
so,
It sounds good to me,
Which shall
because
include,
I think,
but not be limited to.
I think he has a suggestion.
Because as it is, when the farm tractor comes in, I mean, they rope things off, the tractor comes in, you can't park. I mean, they've already got a lot of safety things that they do now because they're so successful in people walking where they want. So, that's been my experience there.
I think he might have a suggestion. I don't know, he's raising his hand. Can we open
So-
it back to him? or not?
Am I allowed to speak?
I don't know. No, okay.
We'll open it back up.
Okay. So you see that picture right there? That little white section is the ice cream stand.
Yes, yep,
So those two garage-looking doors
yep.
are what they call the arcade, part of the arcade. During most of the harvest seasons, there's just benches there
Yes,
for ice cream. I think the plan is to route them in there, and there's a door on the other side of that
yes.
to go around to get their ice cream. And after that, they're free to go where they want, their cars, wherever they want to go. As far as parking, in back of this farm, there's a huge field that they open up,
Yeah,
and it's never full.
yep.
So people do choose to park on the street. I think it's just, it's closer to the farm. I don't know if we can put like temporary no parking signs there if that appeases you. It's,
What, the safety happens, we understand the Mammoth Road issues and how fast people go on Mammoth
Right.
Road and so on and so forth. I think where the issue is once the people are within your stand, just to make sure that flow, because we've all stood out there to get the ice cream and
right.
we're in the parking lot.
It tends to,
So your proposal to have them come in through the arcade doors and maybe have
Route them
some
around.
ice cream here or, and vein them that way, I mean, that's a great idea if we can.
Yeah. Can we put that in
there's
there?
plenty of room in that arcade.
Yeah,
For-
it's pretty spacious and you're right, I've been
Right.
there and it's only benches.
Right.
Sometimes there's school things selling stuff.
Hot dogs.
Thank you very much for your input. Okay, we'll
Thank you
now
for letting me-
close.
So this is what I've got. Patrons of the ice cream stand shall be segregated from the parking area in an effort to maintain safety, which shall include but not be limited to the use of the arcade area to route customers through to avoid the parking lot.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I think that's
fine.
perfect. Good
Yes.
job. I like it.
Yes.
We're all good.
Okay, do we want to get into the parking, or are we just?
Nope,
concerned- okay,
that's good enough for me.
one moment.
Remember, Mitch, when they have excessive patrons and they're so busy, they open up that field and people go in there. It's all roped off and they make it so that people go in there. And they started roping off the front where you can't even park in the front now. You gotta head out to that side area.
Do you want to do anything about the litter problem we were?
So the litter problem, which was discussed by Mr. Clark, he refers to the neighbor, which I believe is the ones that I know of that rent out the facility is the Lions Club.
I thought he was talking about the church.
The church is right next door to that.
What's the
Church is next door to Max Apples.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about.
It's further south, I think, is the church.
Oh, okay, further down the
I'm not sure
road.
which-
Episcopal Church or?
By Adams Road.
Right.
Okay, so that way, okay.
What's that got to do with Max Apples then?
I guess that's, the idea was that yeah, I mean, what does it have to do with this petition, I guess? It's how
Well-
much does this increase the litter? I don't know.
So the the ability to have a voice at a hearing is preserved here. So Mr. Clark has stated his concerns. The applicant is here and can hear that, and we'll bring that message back to his.
Okay.
And this is our
I
town
think that's a
government
fair-
at its best works right now.
That's a fair-
So it has to do with the applicant hearing some of the concerns of a neighbor.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the hot dogs and the ice cream per
think you're
se
right.
and the
That's a fair-
extended hours,
It's a fair point.
but the ability to express the concern, now the applicant has that responsibility to now,
Okay, under the circumstances.
yeah, to now honor the neighbors.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I
this
think
is
so.
great. This is great government stuff
Okay.
right now.
Good. You sold me.
I just, it's the power of the people, right, to speak. So, do I have a motion?
We good? Everybody have all their?
We're all
I
good?
think we're good.
Everyone said what they have to?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion in case number 8/18/2021-3, which is a request for a special exception pursuant to Londonderry zoning ordinance 5.13 for farm retail sale of consumable non-farm products, hot dogs, and to extend the selling of ice cream to the end of October at 230 Mammoth Road, map 6, lot 21, zone AR1, Max Apples, Moose Hill Orchards owner, and Kyle Christensen applicant. that the same be approved, having met the requirements of the special exception, and with the restriction that patrons of the ice cream stand shall be segregated from the parking areas in an effort to maintain safety, which shall include but not be limited to the use of the arcade area to route customers through the arcade area to avoid the parking lots.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark.
Hearing motion. I don't think they should be, really.
You know the previous special exception, I don't think I put the date on that form, so. Because I just noticed the date.
You did.
I did?
It was in a different place.
Nice, okay, then I'm good. All right, and here's the letter. Okay, now that we've gone through all the cases, communications and anything miscellaneous. Do we have anything for communications that we need to? Okay. Other business. The request for a rehearing, I think it's a request for a rehearing, correct? We all got notification. Did you go through that for the, Pipe Dreams motion for rehearing? Did you see that?
Yes, I saw.
Okay. So, I need to have a motion whether, there's justification for a rehearing. Whether, there's any new evidence, or if there's no new evidence or no error in the law when we denied them.
Jackie, just to be clear, people looking at home and for the record, that we did receive a request for a rehearing for Pipe Dreams, if you just kind of want to read that into the record, because that's what you're going to be ruling on.
But we have no case number assigned to it, right?
No, but you do have, it's a request for a rehearing for case number, and then you do have the case file there.
Can I have that, because that's not on my paperwork?
And the reason why it's not
You're
on
gonna
the
read it.
agenda is because we didn't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see
receive it until
what I.
Monday.
Right. I just want to make sure I do it correctly.
So I'm gonna read it, well, I would read it in, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Do I need to do previous zoning on?
Nope, so you just need to say we have a request for a rehearing for
Okay.
case number.
Okay, got it. All right, so we have a request for a rehearing for case number 07-21-2021-4, a request for variance from LZO 4.1.2, use table to allow a restaurant use in the industrial 2 zone, which is otherwise prohibited, 49 Harvey Road, map 14, lot 44-5, zoned IND 2, Lexor Realty LLC owner, and Pipe Dream Brewing LLC applicant.
Perfect, thank you.
So do I have a motion on that request for a rehearing?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion on case 07-21-2021-4, which was a request for a variance from LZO 412, use table to allow a restaurant use in the industrial zone, which is otherwise prohibited, 49 Harvey Road, map 14, lot 44-5, zone IND 2, Lexar Realty LLC owner, and Pipe Dream Brewing applicant, which was a motion for a rehearing. That we deny the motion for rehearing because there is no new or additional information regarding the concerns raised by the ZBA upon its review of the second application.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, I thought that we were gonna discuss it.
No.
Okay.
Are you in favor or opposed for the denial?
If she wants to discuss the motion.
Oh, okay. We're not discussing the case, we're just discussing the request for a rehearing.
Okay.
So there would have to be something new or different in that request from what we've previously seen to,
I had thought from what I was reading in this was that it was a different request from before, that before it was to have breakfast and like different hours. But this, unless I'm misunderstanding, from what I read here, was just to continue the use that they've been using it as?
So they were denied on 7/21.
Yes.
So they were denied at that hearing for their request. Now they're asking for a motion to rehear it. So a motion to rehear, they have to present new evidence, and they must present that there was some kind of an error in the law when the ZBA denied them. So they're asking for a rehearing. So when there is no new evidence and no error in the law, then that's a denial of the rehearing. If there's new evidence and there's an error, that's when this process for a rehearing, we can say that we will approve a rehearing because we see something that's new evidence that wasn't available at the time when they first came. So tonight, it's just to have a motion whether or not they can have a rehearing on the basis of there is brand new information that was not available at the time when we said no, when they first came to us, or they presented the same exact facts and there is no new evidence, then that's a denial on the request to hear it again. Because they're only allowed one hearing, one bite of the apple, to present their case.
but to be clear, they came in front of us with the breakfast thing, which we denied. And we denied it for safety issues having to do with parking. Then they came in front of us with another request without addressing the safety issues in parking. There were some other issues as well that were not addressed in the second.
So there was no new evidence, and now they're asking again for a motion for a rehearing.
Did that help you?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion was to deny the request for a hearing. Are you in favor of that, or are you opposed?
In favor.
Okay. For the record,
I don't think we voted yet.
all those in favor, we said aye.
Aye.
Yeah, and Irene, yeah. So the ayes have it.
Yeah, let's get you signed.
So there is a denial for the request for a hearing for 2021-4. And that concludes other business. Is there anything else that the board needs to address this evening? No? Do I have a motion?
Let's let that end to it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to end this meeting?
Guess I'll make a motion to.
Do
end the
it,
meeting.
because we're gonna have to stay here until someone does. Do
I make a motion to end this meeting.
I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.